following is a Silver Bullion Television audiocast. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Silver Bullion Television SPTV. I'm your host, Patrick Vieira. Today we have with us Mr. Gaurang Torvekar, who is the CEO and co-founder of Indorse. Indorse is a revolutionary platform using new models of tokenization and decentralization to change the shape of professional social networking. Good day, Gaurang, and thank you for joining us on SBTV.
Hey Patrick, thank you for having me here today.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Gaurang, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, Indorse, and the Indorse team?
Sure, man. So hi guys, I'm Gaurang. As Patrick told you, I'm the CEO of Indorse. So we started working on Indorse almost 1 year ago. I still remember I was drawing the mocks of the platform back in Vienna in last March, So we started working on it. We wrote the white paper. We also developed a small POC, and then we did an ICO with Indorse in August or September last year. And since then we have been growing strong. So we already started making revenue this month. We have more than 20,000 users on the platform, and I think the next thing for Indorse is to keep growing like this and concentrate on the growth of the platform. So just to give you a brief overview of Indorse and why we are doing it. So see, the idea is that Indorse, we stand on 3 pillars. The first one is about your data ownership. So, on any of the social networks like Facebook, LinkedIn, or WhatsApp, or all these things, you don't really own your data. And that is really evident from scandals that happened recently, like Cambridge Analytica scandal and even some other older scandals.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing is about monetization of your data. So, on Facebook or even on Instagram, every like, every share you do, you're making a lot of dollars for these guys. But as a user, what do you get out of it? Nothing. And the third thing is about validations. So today I can go and say anything on LinkedIn, and you will have to take me at my face value unless you go and actually verify what I'm saying. So on Indorse, we are using blockchain technology and the latest models of tokenization to solve all these 3 problems. So using blockchain, the users get end-to-end control on their data. Using our token model, we can monetize the data and give back to the users. So the more active you are on Indorse, the more rewards you get. So yeah, and the third pillar is about validations. So see, on any of these social networks, on LinkedIn, I can go and say anything that I want, and you have to take me at my face value. So on Indorse, we are using blockchain technology and the latest forms of tokenization to solve all these 3 problems. So firstly, using blockchain, users get control over their data end to end. Secondly, using the models of tokenization, we can monetize the data and reward the users. So the more active you are on Indorse, the more rewards you get. And the third thing, everything that you write on Indorse or see on Indorse has to be validated. So we are also coming up with new and innovative ways of validating things. So you don't have to rely on a single source of truth anymore. Your community can start validating you. Your peers can also start validating you. So that's what Indorse is all about.
So people can earn by participating and validating.
Yes, so the idea is that the more active you are on the platform, the more rewards you get. So you can start participating in various different forms, like you can start claiming your skills, or you can start validating other people's skills. And by doing that, you can start getting the rewards in the form of IND tokens.
And I understand you have 2 tokens, the IND and the SCR. Could you explain the 2 and what the differences are?
Sure. So the IND token is the free floating token, which is tradable on several exchanges, and you can convert that for Ether or Bitcoin or even USD right now.
Okay.
The second token is about, so all the rewards that users get or all the monetization of the platform that we do will be done in the form of the IND token. It is a utility token, so all the revenue that we get will be in the form of IND, and all the rewards we give out will to incentivize the users will also be in the form of IND. And as far as the second token, it's actually called a reputation token.
Okay.
So using this reputation token, we can avoid people to behave in a malicious manner. So it actually shows what's your reputation on the platform, how is your behavior on the platform, and so in all these forms of validation methodologies, there are a lot of game theoretical variables, and in order to deter the malicious behavior, we are using this reputation token. It's going to be an internal token. It won't be tradable on any of the exchanges.
Okay. What would you consider malicious behavior?
Yeah. So what happens? So let me delve a little deeper into the claims process and how validation is done on Indorse. So when you make any claim, suppose you say that you know how to code in Java or for in Solidity for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
When you say this, it becomes a claim, and along with this claim, you have to attach a proof element. So you could attach a link to your GitHub repository. So now this claim will go for endorsements or validations to multiple people on the platform. So out of 10 people, if more than 7 or 8 people say yes, that you actually can code in Java, then your claim will get validated. So the main innovation in this field is that these validators will be chosen at random, and the vote will be anonymous. So now there are multiple ways in which people could act maliciously in this. So now there might be some validators who might start favoring you. So if they know you, they'll start voting on your behalf, or voting yes for everything, or voting no for everything. So to avoid all these kinds of malicious behaviors, we are penalizing the validators in this case.
In what way would one be penalized?
Yes. So if you start behaving in an unscrupulous manner on the platform, your reputation will go on decreasing. And as your reputation goes on decreasing, you will start getting less and less claims to validate or to endorse.
What are the applications that Indorse can be used for?
Yeah, so I think the most benefit that people see. So see, firstly, right now we are targeting mainly the developers, software developers to begin with. That's the first niche we are going after, because we think that validating the software development skills online is relatively easier than any other skill. So that's the first niche. And the second, on the same hand, when a developer comes and claims his skills and he gets validated, it becomes a very rich data field for all the recruiters and HRs and all the job listing providers.
Who would you consider your main competitor to be from all the 1,500 plus cryptocurrencies out there, and why Indorse? What makes Indorse a company we can trust?
Yeah, so some of the competitors that people always compare us with are sites like earn.com or dog.io. And there's a new company in India called Spring Rule, who is doing something quite similar to what we are doing. So these are the competitors. But as I said earlier, Indorse is one of the very few projects in the ICO space who is already making revenue, and I think that's a pretty big achievement, and I'm really proud of that, because the entire team has come together and we have delivered a really good product which people want to use and want to pay for. So I think that's why Indorse can be trusted in the market.
Your white paper says a combination of things like Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. They verify claims and are aggregated for accuracy of a person's claim. So how does this process work? Meaning, does a human actually go in and look at this information, or is it done by some type of AI or algorithms?
So yeah, we have multiple ways in which you can start validating the claims. So the first way, as I mentioned, was the validation process, where you put up a claim and it goes to multiple people on the platform for endorsements.
Mm-hmm.
So these are actual people, and that's the crux of Endorse. But beyond that, we also have some other mechanisms like you can start talking to a AI chatbot, and it will start validating or verifying your skills in this particular language. And later on, our idea is also to become like a validation marketplace. So along with these two types of validations, you can start adding multiple other validation mechanisms. So yeah, that's the idea going forward.
Okay, yeah, because I'm looking at let's say, obviously it looks like the company's going to grow, and as it grows, to scale things, would there be enough physical human people to go over claims, or would it have to be handed over to some type of algorithm?
No, that's a great question, Patrick. So the idea is to scale up both sides of the equation, which is the claimants and also the validators. So what we foresee or what we hypothesize is that the people who start validating their own claims might start coming back and validating other people's claims. So if you look at the business models of Uber or Grab, there are many people who start driving or driving Uber or Grab just on their weekends because they have a car and they just want to make a few extra bucks. So I think that kind of model or that kind of mindset can be used for Indorse as well. So I think there will always be human beings or people who will be there to validate the claims. But yeah, we are also looking at other mechanisms. You're completely right.
What is the company's vision? What do you see, let's say, happening this year and 5 years from now?
Yeah. So hey, if I am, yeah. So we have a very forward-looking vision currently. Uh, so right now, this year, we are focusing mainly on software developers. And since we have already started making revenue and people are creating accounts on the platform, growing the business processes in Q3 or Q4 is my complete and entire focus right now. Uh, after we get become market leaders in this particular niche, which is software developers, then I want to start expanding beyond that niche and going into other verticals as well. So we could start going into academicians like researchers or peer reviews and all these things, and then we could also start looking at gig economy or freelancers, all these people. So yeah, the idea is to target one vertical at a time and then keep growing horizontally.
I'm sure there's going to be people out there who have a bit of a concern because they see nations like China who are giving people a social score, and then that social score determines whether they can travel, whether they can drive, their marketability for employment. So I think there are some concerns where, excuse me, people might be associating it with some type of a social score, but it's very much so different from that, correct?
Yeah, actually, that's a very valid concern. And people have also compared us sometimes with an episode from Black Mirror, which is one of the Netflix documentary series.
Yes.
Uh, so in that case as well, there was something like a social score for every person, and then your social value or your, as you said, your employability, marketability is dependent on that score. So see, in all these cases that you mentioned, maybe in case of China, I don't think it is very transparent the way in which they give the scores to the people. But in the case of Endorse, we are a completely open source project, and it is really transparent how we are assigning the scores and the way in which we are doing it. So we are looking mainly at the skills of a person, and I think that's how we differ from these traditions.
I'm pretty sure that'll ease a lot of people's minds. So I appreciate that. Are there other ways that, or other areas that Endorse may be looking to get into besides employability?
Uh, Not currently. So, in this year we are laser focused on this one particular niche and one particular vertical. And after that, we can start looking at other things. But no, this year that's our main focus.
Okay, and you chose, I believe you're on the Ethereum blockchain. Why
Yes.
Ethereum over Bitcoin?
Yeah. So I have been involved with I have been involved with Ethereum since the beginning. So just when Ethereum was being released, I started writing smart contracts on
Okay.
Ethereum. And personally, I love Ethereum. Um, and I like the way in which you can natively write smart contracts on Ethereum blockchain as compared to Bitcoin. Because with Bitcoin, you can't actually write smart contracts unless you use a second layer like RSK, which is a rootstock or something else. That's why we always preferred Ethereum. Also, the second thing is about community adoption. So Ethereum has the biggest community in the world amongst all the blockchains, and that is always beneficial for a blockchain startup to tap on the collective wisdom of the community. And I think that's why we went with Ethereum.
For the benefits of our listeners who may not know, what exactly is a smart contract?
Uh, yeah, so a smart contract is a piece of code on the blockchain which can be executed on multiple computers in the network. So if you want to think about it, just think of it like a piece of code. That's it. It's as simple as that.
Are you working with any other companies like Digix?
So yeah, after the ICO, in the white paper, we had promised that after the ICO, we'll be converting 25% of the ether that we raise in the form of Digix tokens. So that's one thing we are doing with them. And secondly, the Digix guys, we are very close with them, and they have been our advisors since the beginning. So they always help me out. They tell me what are the best practices, what to do, what not to do, all these things.
What you're doing sounds absolutely interesting. How can our viewers or listeners get to know more about you? Where can they find you?
Yeah, thank you for that, Patrick. You can get to know more about Indorse on our website, which is indorse.io, INDORSE.io.
And they'll be able to find your white paper there as well.
Yeah.
Gaurang, we thank you for your time, and we do wish you all the best, and we're sure that our listeners will be interested in what you have to offer, and hope to speak to you again soon.
Sure, Patrick. Thank you. Have a nice day.
That was Gaurang Torvekar from Indorse.io sharing with us another use for the blockchain and his outlook on the rewards of taking ownership of your data with Indorse.io. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the SBTV channel to be updated on our new content.